Hello again, my name is Ben, and here I am today. It's certainly been a while, folks. I apologize for that. To keep it simple, I've been in college for the last few years now, and most recently, my family had a move where I had to pack up all my things, and most of my collection and parts have remained in storage. Moved to a smaller room, and I've been busy with classes, so making videos was not really on the table for me. I apologize for not really addressing it. I just kind of got distracted, and prioritizing videos was not nearly as high on my list of priorities anymore. Apologize for not making it clear. I appreciate those who have continued to watch my videos and still leave comments to this day. I really appreciate all of that. I've been doing this for almost 6 years now. It'll be 7 next year, I believe. So to see the 650 or so of you still that chose to subscribe since then, and the tens of 20s who maybe still be watching my videos, I do really appreciate those who continue to support it. I have plenty of backlog of videos for people with mocks and set reviews and all sorts of different things for people who may be curious. But I don't want to leave you guys completely empty-handed. Of course, Christmas time for those to celebrate, and a good time, nice festivities, or nice winter season for those who may not. So with that time comes a great deal of gifting and getting, I should say. And for myself, I've definitely gotten myself a few nice things for Christmas, and I would like to show them off to you. So first things first, I got the most recent Jango Fett Slave one, the Playscale version. The UCS version is quite cool, I will say, but it is quite expensive, and I have not a need for such a large variant. A smaller Playscale version is something that appeals to me far more. It is definitely a quite small. I would want something more in the mid-range, like the 2010 Slave one. But of course, it's still a passable model. I quite enjoy this version. We haven't gotten a Playscale version since 2002, and I still quite enjoy it. The summer wave of sets was a very strong wave. However, I feel that a lot of the price points were simply just far too high. The $160 Juggernaut being the main one that caused people a lot of frustration, myself included. $45 for the 327th Battle Pack was also quite bad. So I won't be purchasing any of those until they go on significant clearance, which we can only hope for in the next few years. This one, however, retailing for $70 was a decent deal. Like, price per part ratio was passable. I, however, was able to find it at Walmart for $60, and since it was a set that I was eyeing and was wanting to get, especially since I don't have a Jango Fett in my collection currently, I decided to bite the bullet and purchase it. I'm quite content with it. Once I build it, we'll see if I really feel like the value's there. Not too sure yet, but we'll see, Get the back, look at the back of the box, we'll see. You get, I believe it's Tonway? No, it's Lama Su, I forget. Tonway's the other one in the Obi-Wan Starfighter. But you get Young Boba, the same one from that UCS set. So that's cool. Jango Fett, of course, doesn't have the new rangefinder, however, doesn't have the arm printing. It's unfortunate, but what are you going to do? But quite excited to have that. And then the other set that I decided to purchase, the Coruscant Guard gunship from, I think, a few years back. I think retailed originally for $140. At that price point, I wasn't too interested in getting it, considering it is a scaled-down version of the 2013 version. But I did quite enjoy the design. They decided to go for a Coruscant Guard variant instead of the normal version that we've seen for the past 2 years. I already have the 2008 version, so I wasn't interested in a remake of the OG version. So a variant definitely appealed to me far more. It also comes with some very cool figures. Of course, you get the 2 Shock Troopers, which is a cool design to have. You also get our first time seeing Commander Fox, Phase 2 version. We had the Phase 1. Phase 2 version is very cool figure to have. I like it a lot. Nice detailing. Of course, the waist cape not being present is unfortunate, but that's Lego for you these days. What can you do? And you also get Palpatine. Nice figure to get, and Padme. Also a pretty cool figure. The build is quite nice. Again, underscaled. The main thing that frustrates me is the fact that there's only a singular sliding door when it's meant to be 2. But that can be modded, and I will probably do so myself. Also, the stud shooters, it's a little unfortunate, but for me personally, stud shooters aren't super frustrating. At the end of the day, these are sets for kids, so it's not the biggest deal. Originally, I wasn't going to purchase it for its retail price. I was planning on waiting for it to go on clearance, which eventually did happen. Insiders Weekend in November happened where certain sets went on discount and there was double VIP points. This was one of those sets that went on discount for $90, and with double points, I was able to get. It was a hard deal to refuse, so I decided to finally bite the bullet and purchase the set. And I will say I am definitely very happy with this choice. We'll see if the Jango Fett Starship, as they call it, will be worth the value once I build it, but I am certainly this will be worth the money I paid for it. Now that's the last of the actual Lego things that I got, but I did also obtain some other packages that I think you'll be most interested in seeing, especially with my rationale behind it. We've got this first one, very large box, or not box, but package. These scissors here. Let's try and attempt to open it. We can hope. We can only. Probably attempting a more careful way to do this, of course, but I don't really mind being a little reckless. But we can try with my might. It's a little difficult because I'm reaching over the camera, so it might not be the most efficient way to open this sort of packaging. I'm hoping to get a good angle to see what exactly is in it, because I got two. Okay, here we go. Quite frustrating. Now, I don't think you'll be able to tell this bundle of pieces is from just this angle. If I can open it up, if it would be so kind as to let me. Apologies, I didn't really expect how this would go. Now, this booklet. So, okay. I decided to try shopping on AliExpress for the first time this season, because a set that definitely had a great interest to me personally was the Lego Voltron. Now, secondhand or sealed, that's going to run you up hundreds of dollars that I was simply not willing to obtain. Given the fact the set has no minifigures or anything like that, I figured to myself that this might be a decent set to get secondhand, as in knockoff or bootleg, as they'd say. So I decided to go out on a limb and try it, because it's significantly cheaper. I believe I spent like $45 on this, and I wanted to evaluate for myself if the quality was worth it. So one thing I'm planning on doing is assembling this bootleg Voltron, at least attempting to. See the instructions here, see the finished model, there you go. And I want to determine if it's worth the value, if the parts quality is up to snuff with Lego themselves, and see if I could recommend it to people who might be curious. For the longest time, I was quite skeptical of bootleg Lego, bootleggo as they say. But given that Lego is very expensive these days and only continues to increase, I want to see if the alternatives might be worth a second chance to look at. And to continue on with that trend, I also obtained this other package, something else that I was eyeing up quite a bit this year. This last one. You can get a nice, easy opening. If it'd be ever so kind. Hopefully you can tell maybe this one a bit better. I've heard interesting. Both of them have these blank construction booklets. That's unfortunate for my case. However, if I could show it, this is a bootleg of the most recent Transformers set, Soundwave. So I'm going to build this one and evaluate if it's also worth the purchase, or if you'd be better off getting the official version. Which does lead me into my final thing that I got this year, which unfortunately, of the time of recording, has not arrived and will sadly not be here in time for Christmas. But I will show it once it gets here on the day whenever it decides to arrive, because it's currently being recorded on Christmas Eve. So I'll get back to you guys whenever it decides to finally come in. Alright, it is now December 27th, and the package has finally arrived. Since I recorded the last segment, I have had the chance to build everything else, and I will say the Jango Fett Slave 1 is a very well-built design, but I still am not quite sure if it's worth that value. It feels quite small, I'll say. The Coruscant Guard gunship, I do feel like is also a very good build. And the main thing that really holds back for me is the singular door. But I do think both sets are still very solid, and I think the value I got for the Coruscant Guard gunship was quite good. I did get around to building the Voltron and the knockoff Soundwave set, and I certainly have a lot of feelings about both of those, which I'll get to whenever I actually upload videos regarding those sets individually. But like I mentioned, we got our last box here, and I believe I don't know if I've mentioned what it is, but we're gonna get it open here. You guys can get a good look at what it is. I'm not quite sure if it's gonna be like sealed in its actual box, or if it's just gonna be a mess of parts on the ground. But oh, nope, the box is here. Thank goodness. This thing opened up. Let's try to see it right here. There we go. There it is. This is the actual official LEGO Soundwave set that released this year. I definitely wanted to make sure I had the official one, at least for this, to compare it to the knockoff to see if it was worth the value. So I want to make sure to have this, because there are some significant differences that I noticed between the two that I'll mention whenever I do that full comparison, which should come in the next few days once I get this thing built and, get my opinions all sorted out. But yeah, this is the last thing I decided to get this year, the actual official model. I think I paid, not full retail for this one, because I think it has been opened already. See at the bottom here, and they've got resealed. But everything should still be there, so I'm not too upset about that, and I paid less than retail, so we take that. But yeah, that kind of does it for everything I got this year. Thanks again for everything that you guys, supported me through. I appreciate people who still watch my videos, and, obviously apologies for not uploading for a while and not explaining where I was. But yeah, hope you guys had a wonderful holiday, good Christmas to celebrate, good time with family and friends. And I'll get this thing built. I will release a review of the knockoff Voltron, evaluating its strengths and weaknesses. And I'll also upload a video comparing the official LEGO Soundwave versus the knockoff, and debating whether or not you should go for the official or the knockoff. And what I say may surprise some of you, but until then, thank you for watching. Thank you for those who are still here. I hope you guys have a good day. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.